Well, this is the political and economic event, and we run it every year. Our customers range from sort of the smaller commercial end right through to large corporates and REITs, and they really seem to get a lot out of it.
The housing crisis is real. It is real if you're quite affluent and you're trying to live in the centre of London or near your work. It is very, very much real if you are less affluent and you are trying to find somewhere for your family to live.
There are a few small signs of overheating and slowdown in certain sectors. We talked about it this evening. The super prime market on the residential side has been hit by the stamp duty changes.
London needs to be building 50,000 homes every year to keep up with the demand for housing, and currently we're only building something like 18,000 a year. So in the next 20 years, the population is going to grow to something like 10 million, which, to put that in perspective, is like adding the population of Birmingham to the current population of London.
I think, as far as the government is concerned, their problem is that it's not actually Treasury that should be leading in terms of more housing. I mean, Help to Buy arguably simply push prices up even more out of the reach of most people. It's actually more to do with our approach to the planning system. And what I mean by that is a few residents will get on to a few councillors and say, if you want to be re-elected next time, you've got to oppose this new development because we don't want our own environment disturbed. And I think it's going to be the major subject for debate in the forthcoming mayoral election. I think you'll find both Sadiq Khan and Zac Goldsmith coming under a lot of pressure to say, okay, everybody says we need 60,000. All the records show that we're building half that number, at best. What are you actually going to do? What powers do you need? What will you lobby central government for, if necessary, that will enable you to start breaking through this barrier and actually delivering at least the 60,000 homes every year, just to keep pace with the demand that there already is in this city?
Actual green land around cities, parks, that should never be touched, but where it's classified in the 50s as green, where it's not really, it's brown, it's kind of scrubland at the moment. That needs to be, we need to rezone that and allow people to build.
In terms of the property markets, I would expect to see a growth in prices of around about 5%. I think going forward beyond that, I'd be very surprised if we see property price appreciation above 5% as well for 2017 and beyond. Ultimately, this will boil down to, again, when that timing of the first rate rise comes in, because that will start to impact and impinge on demand. And ultimately, I think we will see an increase in supply as well, so that should alleviate the pressure on prices to rise.
Our view in 2016 going forward in the regions is we will see the growth. Most of the upturn in London has happened. And you're now seeing, for example, on high-end residential, it's actually pretty bad. Whereas in the regions, because the prices are much cheaper, there is more opportunity. We're already seeing a lot of foreign investment in the regions. 2 or 3 years ago, you never saw any. And because we're starting from a lower base, the chances of our getting a reasonable percentage growth is far higher than it is in London. The position of Newcastle, for example, is they will slowly but surely get the benefit of the uncertainty in Scotland. These cities will see very considerable benefits, and they're going to benefit even more because of what George Osborne is doing, particularly with regard to connecting Manchester to Leeds on the train. It's all very beneficial. So you're seeing this tremendous investment going on outside London.
Looking forward to the next couple of years, the big question will be, when do interest rates finally rise? And that will be a real sort of testing moment. I think things will probably start to tail off sort of middle of next year. I don't think we're going to have a full-blown crisis, but we might see a little bit of a retreat in sort of property values